Stefan, 10 years and 2 days since you first set foot in the UFC octagon, 40 career fights under your belt. You've chosen now as the time to put your gloves down in the octagon and retire from the sport. What are the overriding emotions now you've made that big decision?
I'm happy I never have to feel that tension again before the fight. And that only got worse after knowing about my heart. You know, it was very hard to come back. But I'm not someone who shies away from a challenge. Yeah, I thought about it a lot. Of course, you know, I first started thinking about retiring when the situation with the heart came up, and but I didn't want to at that point. I really didn't want to, although of course it was an option, especially in the very beginning when we didn't know exactly what was going on. Then I made my comeback and got on a streak again. Fought Alexander Volkov in Rotterdam, and Stipe was the champ at that point, you know. So, and I'm one of the few guys who's got a great win over him. And my thoughts were, if I knock him out too in Rotterdam, then maybe the shot comes. You know, I always wanted to fight for the UFC title, and before I signed with the UFC, I believed I was going to be a champion. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do that, but I had a great career anyway. So only happiness. So.
Was this a decision that you kept just to yourself, or was it something you discussed with friends and family beforehand?
I discussed it the last couple of years a couple of times with my coaches and friends, and talked about it. But like everybody, I want to end it on a good note, end it with a win. And unfortunately, after getting on a streak, I ended on a losing streak, and it just didn't feel right. And now it does. So.
Onto that victory, and you know, you've picked up a slew of submission wins during your career. You know, you've made that a reputation of yours. You know, you finish people by submission, which is kind of rare in the UFC heavyweight division. How fitting is it that you go out not just on a win, but on a sub as well?
Well, not only a sub, but, you know, facing adversity in the first round. I didn't know what hit me. I hit the ground, and I had a big Brazilian on me trying to knock me out. I didn't know what happened. Just stayed calm. I felt him getting tired, and I knew the second round was going to be mine. So I knew that the opportunity for the submission would come, and it did. So.
And what's next for Stefan Struve?
A whole life with lots of opportunity outside of fighting, which I can fully focus on right now. And yeah, just going to be successful with something else, successful and happy. So,
all the best to you.
Thank you.
Stefan, obviously you've mentioned about your health issues and about your heart. Has that condition changed in any way? What is the update with your health at the moment?
I'm great. It's doing great. But you know, if you look at it, I shouldn't be fighting the best athletes in the world. When this is found, normally it's found when people are very young. You know, you go to a doctor and they hear a murmur, and then you have it checked out, and then you're on medication for your whole life, and you're told you shouldn't do anything dangerous or whatever because, you know, you got a heart disease. So they didn't find it in me until I was 24, 25. I can't remember the exact age, but you know, at that point I didn't want to retire. It wasn't ready. Everything is great. I get checked up every 6 months, and that's enough to see how it's progressing. And now that I don't have to train as a professional athlete anymore, I'm always going to be training, but now I'm going to be able to focus even more on keeping that heart healthy, and I think it's only going to be good for it. So. And
what will you do as a retired MMA fighter? Do you still want to stay working somehow within the sport?
Yeah, I would love to stay attached to the UFC in some way. I've been with them for 10 years. I had a great career with them, but we'll see. You know, I'm gonna teach for sure. I got so much knowledge to share. MMA is still very fresh in Holland. I think there's a lot of growth to be done, and it'd be awesome if I can have a part of that.
And just last one from me. Any special moments that kind of stick out to you, you know, throughout your MMA career?
Well, tonight, my whole career, I've had great fights, in my opinion. You know, I don't want to talk about my career like that, but like I made my debut against Junior Dos Santos. Then my second fight, I had an absolute war with the whole cage being red with my blood. You know, I fought one of the best heavyweights of all time, Stipe Miocic, of course. I got to fight 2 times in Rotterdam at the first defense the UFC ever had in Holland. Even after coming back, I fought my way back to main eventing the UFC. You know, I fought 2 main events for the UFC. I don't know even how many co-main events. Fought all over the world. Yeah, I'm proud of it.
So let's have a quick look through your last 4 fights. You had 3 losses, and now the win for the finish of your career. Do you treat it as an icing on the cake, or it would be no change to the decision if you lose this fight?
Well, I wanted to end it on a good note. You know, you never really want to go out on a loss because it's going to stick with you, that feeling of losing. I hate losing. I love winning. I'm going to miss winning. But for the rest, you know, going very deep in training camps, and then the week of the fight, mentally it's been tougher than before. I knew about the heart and all that. During training, I can easily shrug it off. But during fight week, the question a lot of times comes up in my head, man, what am I doing? But I think a lot of people have that. I think it's just a good time to call it. So.
And let's focus on the fashion that you've won today. If you could pick the fashion you could win, would it be a submission, or would you like to win in another fashion?
If I could change anything today, it would be like the first 5 seconds where I almost got knocked out. But for the rest, you know, it's also fitting for my career because I faced adversity a lot of times. But yeah, no, I'm very happy with the win. I hadn't won by arm triangle yet, and it's another submission to add to my resume. So.
Thank you so much.